Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this afternoon.
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon. Where are we going to begin today?
Courtroom 2, Mr. Carter, position 9.
Good afternoon, Judge. Maya Griggs here on behalf of Mr. Carter.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. I am Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004432F with battery family violence. Let's see, who do we have on from pretrial this afternoon?
Nikia Roberts.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Roberts. Is there a history?
1 second, Judge. First arrest.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, who's presenting for the state?
I am, Your Honor, Mr. Brian
Oh.
Pilon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pilon. You can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, officers initially responded to Northside Hospital. It was a Northside employee that called. When they got there, the victim stated that she and the defendant got into an argument in the mother's home. The defendant struck the victim and choked her from behind, and the victim eventually left and sought medical care. When officers arrived, the victim had a busted lip, lacerations, and swelling on her face. Pretrial is correct. We show the same, that this is a first arrest, but it is unclear from our conversations with the victim, if released, if defendant would be returning to the same address. For that reason, our bond recommendations are $4,000 surety bond, family violence intervention program, a stay away from that address, which I show as 310 Harbor Landing in Roswell, Georgia. No further contact with the victim, which victim's name is K-A-I, Carter, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Has your office had the opportunity to speak with Kay Carter?
Yes, Your Honor. They have not desire to have contact. I don't know if she's intending to appear, but we would like to sound for her.
Okay, and you said that the desire was to have no further contact?
That's my understanding, Your Honor.
Okay. If Kai Carter is present and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. You, of course, do not have to address the court, but if you choose to and you're with us, now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Yes, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, I'm sorry, Maya Griggs on behalf of Mr. Carter.
Oh.
Judge, the information is slightly inaccurate. Ms. Carter, the alleged victim in this incident, is the defendant's sister. And from my understanding, she's been contacted by the victim witness advocates for the DA's office and does not wish to pursue the prosecution. It's my understanding that the mother was present and observed this fight between the parties mutually, and this is not a situation where 911 was called by her, but based on another friend being around calling 911 for her. Mr. Carter is 25 years old. He is 23. He's a senior in college and also is gainfully employed. As the state indicated, he has no prior record. And because of that, and the fact that he's going back to school, and obviously that would impact his resources, we would ask that the court grant him a signature bond. I've already spoken with the family, and I'm aware of the fact that the sister is no longer present. However, he has an aunt who is willing to allow him to stay with her if he's released on bond, and I have that address to provide to the court.
Whose address is 310 Harbor Landing?
My mom.
That's the mom's address. All three, the kids live with their mother.
Okay, and Kai Carter, she also lives in that household?
She does, but she's not currently their judge.
And she goes,
Okay. Do you know whether or not she plans on being back?
She's leaving in 2 weeks, obviously.
She's going to LSU, judge, in 2 weeks. She's also gonna start her freshman year in college. So these are both college students. So she won't be there after that 2-week period. I'm sure that she doesn't want the stipulation to be no contact. I'm sure she would want it to be no violent contact if that's what the court is leaning towards doing. However, until the situation is clear, we do have permission for him to live with a relative. And then perhaps we could deal with the issue of him remaining, at home with his mother once we've got clarification on everyone's address.
Okay. Given that this is Mr. Carter's first arrest, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. No further violent contact with Ms. Kai Carter, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, sir. Conference. Position 14, Mr. Humphries.
Good afternoon, Mr. Humphries. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Humphries, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004439Y with simple battery and fraudulent driver's license or identification card. Is there a history?
First arrest.
Yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Falk.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident happened July 15th, 2023 at 3186 Roswell Road, which appears to be Hyde Kitchen and Cocktails. The defendant entered the establishment with a fake ID to gain access to the bar, which is 21 and up. I believe he is 19 years of age at this time. Also at that location, the defendant repeatedly punched a Mr. Armand Sarvgod at that location. This is the defendant's first arrest. It does not appear there was any relationship between him and Mr. Sarvgod from what we got from the warrant. So the state is agreeable to a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. That's going to be $2,000 on the simple battery, $500 on the fake ID. We are requesting, due to his age, that he have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Stay away from 3186 Roswell Road in Atlanta, Hyde Kitchen and Cocktails, and no further contact with Armand Sarvgod. I am placing that name in the chat for the litigation manager. And we would like to, my apologies, Your Honor. We would just like to sound for Mr. Sarvgod in case he's here.
Mr. Sarvgod is present and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Counsel, is there any objection to any of the state's requests?
Judge, I would object to the curfew. My client is 19 years old, as stated, but he is a freshman at Georgia Southern University. He resides full-time in Statesboro, Georgia, and I believe that imposing a curfew may create some issues with the things that he may need to do in terms of his matriculation. As previously indicated, he has no priors. The alleged location where this incident happened is a space, and I understand that this is not necessarily going to be a defense in the case, but it's a space where they allow underage college students to come and drink, unfortunately, in Buckhead. He understands, obviously, because of the serious nature of this incident, that he needs to be more aware of his surroundings and who he's around. But from my understanding of the facts, Judge, this occurred a day prior to the actual arrest. He was then approached by an officer the next day who indicated he remembered him from a prior day incident, and he sustained multiple injuries as well as other individuals who were present, and we have photos and documentation of that. So based upon the aforementioned, based upon the fact that he is a college student, he's never been arrested before, and is going to be returning to Statesboro, we just asked the court grant him a signature bond.
Okay, it will be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, $2,000 for the battery, $500 for the driver's license fraudulent. Stay away from the Roswell Road address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Humphries.
Your Honor, we'd also ask for that no further contact.
And no further contact with the alleged victim.
And just to perfect the record, he doesn't know that person at all, Judge, so that will be no problem.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Judge, and that completes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you. Position 1, Ms. Adams.
Good afternoon, Ms. Adams. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 0044441J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts? With me, Ms. Roberts? Mr. Pilon, is this your case?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Oh, okay.
2 cycles, last arrest, March of 2020 for theft by conversion out of Clayton County. That case appears to be open.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Pilon.
Yes, Judge, officers responded to 3780 Sherbrooke Court yesterday morning, about 3 in the morning. They were told that the victim and the defendant got into an argument, which then turned physical when the defendant punched the victim in the face. The report states that Ms. Benson, the victim, her eyebrow was split open, and that EMS was actually able to see her skull through the wound. Additionally, just to clarify, Judge, the defendant and the victim are in a relationship. I don't believe they're spouses, but they do reside in the same location. So that's the reason for the family violence charge. Our bond request is a $5,000 surety bond, family violence intervention program, no further contact with Symphony Benson, and a stay away from that address, which again is 3780 Sherbrooke Court. That's in South Fulton, Judge.
If Ms. Benson is present and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Trejo, is this your case?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, you can proceed.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, first and foremost, we would object to a stay away order from the address. That address is owned by my client. It's a lease to own situation where she pays the rent. The other party was staying at the house. However, we don't believe that a stay away order would be appropriate because it is my client's house. She is the primary owner of the home. Your Honor, we would ask for a bond of no greater than $1,000. My client has she's gainfully employed. She has military service. She's lived in Atlanta for 2 years, and she has a master's degree. We think that the best thing for her would be to be able to have a bond, to be able to move on with her life and be able to handle this case the best way possible. We would ask for no further violent contact. Again, given the fact that the house is my client's, and understanding that even if this other party were to leave the house, there would need to be some time for that person to be able to get their things and leave. But we don't think that should be held against my client.
Well, does Ms. Benson reside at the Sherbrooke Court address? And is that where she lives also?
She had been staying there, Your Honor, temporarily, but I don't believe that it's a permanent, based on my conversation with my client, I don't believe that it's a permanent living situation.
Okay, well, if she lives there at the present time, okay, well, if nothing further, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Benson at the present time. And given that Ms. Benson lives at the Sherbrooke Court address, if Ms. Benson is living there, then Ms. Adams can go back, retrieve her belongings with the escort of law enforcement. If Ms. Benson is not living there or moves out, then Ms. Adams can go back and reside there. But if Ms. Benson continues to reside at Sherbrooke Court, Ms. Adams cannot necessarily be there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Adams.
Thank you.
Position 4, Mr. Arnold, Ms. Arnold.
Good afternoon, Ms. Arnold. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Arnold, you've been charged in case 23 CR 004443G with simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
7 cycles. Last arrest was from September of 2020 for a probation violation out of Cobb County. Appears to have an open case out of Fulton for cruelty in the first, 22 SC 182-205. Appears to have an open case out of DeKalb for battery, family violence, battery, simple battery, family violence, and simple battery from September of 2020, 1 FTA in 2019, and a driving while license suspended conviction in 2017. Nothing further.
And the battery family violence, I'm sorry, is that, did you say that was open?
It appears to be, there's no disposition listed. It's out of DeKalb County in 2020.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, Mr. Palom.
Judge, in this matter, officers responded to a disturbance. They met with the victim. The victim explained that the victim and the defendant were arguing previously, and the victim left the argument to de-escalate the situation. The defendant pursued the victim outside and began attempting to puncture the victim's car tires with a kitchen knife. The defendant then began to chase the victim, eventually caught him and punched him in the face. The victim then fled back into the home. Defendant pursued the victim there, ripped his shirt, and tried to take away his phone. Defendant eventually fled the scene in the victim's car. For the reason of those facts, Judge, because of the open cruelty case and what appears to be, I also show the open battery family violence case, we're asking for a $4,000 surety bond, family violence intervention program, no further contact with Zetrick Arnold, which is the victim in this case and the defendant's husband, stay away order from the address 3000 Continental Colonial Parkway Southwest in Atlanta, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay, Mr. Trejo, or is this Ms. McLeod?
It is my case, Your Honor. Good
Oh,
afternoon.
yes, good afternoon.
Miss Arnold is 39 years old, Your Honor. She is the mother of 4 minor children that she takes care of herself. In fact, she tells me, Your Honor, that because of domestic violence in her marriage, she is currently living in a shelter. This incident, according to what the warrant says, happened in 2021, Your Honor. My client does not live with the alleged victim anymore. And she tells me she hasn't seen him in over a year. I would ask the court to consider giving my client a signature bond, Your Honor, because as I said, she does have 4 minor children that she's responsible for. She doesn't have much income. She works in a restaurant. She doesn't have much income, and she's currently living in a shelter with her 4 minor children. She doesn't have a problem with no further contact, Your Honor, and that address is not the address at which she lives.
Judge, I would like to sound for the victim before you make your ruling. Mr. Zetrick Arnold.
Mr. Arnold is present and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Given the age of the case, it's going to be a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. No further contact with Mr. Arnold. Stay away from the Continental Parkway address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Ms. Arnold.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Berry. Position 5, Ms. Berry.
Good afternoon, Ms. Berry. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you, Ms.
Your
Berry. Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004444J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Only one prior arrest from 2000 for aggravated battery. That case was dismissed.
Yes, Mr. Pilon.
Judge, in this case, police were called out. The victim reported that his spouse asked him for money to the defendant. The victim refused doing that, believing that the defendant would spend the money on drugs. So the defendant pulled on our victim's shirt, scratched him, leaving a 4-inch laceration that was still bleeding when officers responded, and overturned some of his belongings. For those reasons, we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, family violence intervention program, no further contact with John Berry, a stay away order from the incident location, which is 71 Roselle Drive, Southwest Atlanta, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And Judge, I would like to sound for the victim before defense.
Okay, if Mr. Berry is present and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so. Mr. Trejo?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 62 years old, and even though she has a case from over 20 years ago, that case was dismissed, Your Honor. So at this point, she doesn't have any history to speak of. My client is not working. She has not worked since 2020. Her husband is the alleged victim in this case, is permanently disabled and receives full Social Security benefits. My client receives food stamps, so that is the income that they are receiving. It's the Social Security benefits from her husband, Your Honor. My client has also indicated that that she has had issues with drugs and alcohol in the past, but she has been in an inpatient treatment facility previously, and has indicated to me that that while that is no longer part of her life, that it may still be part of her husband's life. So we hope that will color a bit of the context of what happened in this case at this time. Your Honor, my client, we're asking for a signature bond for my client. Again, based on the financial hardships that she has, we don't believe that she would be able to make a bond. We would also ask that there not be a stay away order from the address. Again, given the fact that my client is on the lease, that my client is the one who pays the rent in that house, even though they do have reduced rent, and her housing options are very limited. We would be okay with no further violent contact, understanding that her husband does still live at the location. But given that their lack of history, Your Honor, we believe that no further violent contact would be appropriate in this case.
Mr. Trejo, have you spoken with Mr. Berry or?
No, Your Honor, just with my client.
Okay, and Mr. Pilon, has your office spoken with Mr. Berry?
No, Your Honor, we've attempted contact, but have not made it.
Okay. I'm willing to give your client a signature bond. It'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, one-day anger awareness. As far as, since no one's spoken with Mr. Berry, does not know his desires at this point in time, so no further contact with Mr. Berry. Stay away from the Roselle Drive address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, and no drug, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Of course, Mr. Trejo, if somebody does hear from Mr. Berry and his desires, the bond can be modified at some later date. But I'm reticent to place someone back into a household when the alleged victim has not been contacted.
Understood.
Good luck to you, Ms. Berry.
No, Position 8, Ms. Bird. And before we go to her, Ms. Kim, can you please call court number 2 for an interview? Ms. Kim,
Yes, I will call.
thank you.
And we also have Madam Interpreter on the line. If you all could make some accommodation, if you can, for whomever she's here to see this afternoon, the court would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bird. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Byrd. You've been charged in case 23 CR 004447C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Roberts?
Cycles, last arrest, April of 2018 for driving while license suspended or revoked. There was no disposition listed on that case. Nothing further.
Mr. Pilon?
Judge, officers responded to another argument that turned physical when the defendant grabbed the victim's hair and tried to pull her to the ground. The victim is the defendant's spouse. The defendant told police that she grabbed the victim's hair and tried to pull her to the ground, and the defendant told police that she's the one who initiated the altercation. Because for those reasons, for the reasons that they are married and they live together, we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, family violence intervention program, no further contact with the victim, which is Miss Ukeva Byrd, a stay away order from 2411 Sullivan Road in College Park, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would like to sound for the other Miss Byrd.
If Ukeva Byrd is present and wishes to address the court, I see you there, Ms. Byrd. If you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. You'll have, okay, can you raise your, if you wish to address the court, can you raise your right hand for me?
I'm at work, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, Ms. Byrd. What would you like to tell the court?
What you said was right. The address that you guys have is actually our job. We work, I'm a truck driver and she's a security guard. This happened at our job. However, the 5712 Castlebrook Drive, that's where I live. She formerly lived, but no longer there.
Okay, so do you desire not to have any further contact at the present time?
I just want a divorce. That's
Okay,
it.
Okay, so you don't want any further contact at the present time. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Byrd. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Trejo.
Yes, Your Honor. After speaking with my client, we have no issues with the stay away order from the address. We have no issues with a no further contact order with the alleged victim in this case. We would ask for a bond of no more than $2,000, Your Honor, given my client's given my conversations with my client about the amount of money that she has on her and the amount of money that she would be able to pay in a bond. But with regard to the other conditions, no objection from defense.
Okay, Ms. Byrd does not have any substantial history. As such, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Ukeva Byrd, stay away from the Sullivan Road address, and also the Castleberry Drive address, I believe, or whatever address it is where Ms. Byrd resides. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Byrd.
I appreciate you, Judge. Thank you.
What was
You're
that?
welcome.
What was that bond?
It was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 24, Ms. Waters.
Your Honor, we have the Spanish interpreter in courtroom 3. Can we be put in the breakout room?
Yes, let's see. Who's representing the person who needs the interpreter?
I believe it's Ms. McLeod.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Ms. McLeod, you're representing Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor, I have not received any information on him, but I was told there was a contact, but I haven't received the information yet.
Okay, what's the gentleman's name?
Reyes.
Reyes, position number 21.
I see it in the chat, Your Honor, but I haven't received.
Are you able to speak with him and represent him this afternoon, Ms. McLeod?
I am, Your Honor. I just haven't spoken with him yet.
Okay, yes, we're going to place you into the breakout room with Madam Interpreter in courtroom 3, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if we can go ahead, Ms. Chancey, good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome, Your Honor. My pleasure.